Okay, let's unpack this. In a world that often tells us to fix our weaknesses, what if the real secret to unlocking potential actually lies in doubling down on what you naturally do best?
Exactly. We are constantly bombarded with information, right?
Every single day, there's always something new, some new demand, all telling us how to be, well-informed.
And supposedly more successful because of it.
Right. But amidst all that noise, there's this powerful shortcut to, well, personal and professional success that honestly often gets overlooked, and that's understanding your unique strengths.
It's so true. We're often kind of conditioned from a young age, aren't we? To spot our shortcomings, focus on what's missing or broken.
Oh, yeah, think about performance reviews. They almost always start with areas for improvement.
Always. But what if the most efficient and maybe even the most energizing path to growth isn't about patching up those perceived holes? What if it's about amplifying what already shines within you?
That's precisely what we're diving into today.
Yeah, it's a fundamental shift in perspective.
And what a journey it's going to be. Our mission in this deep dive is to explore the, well, fascinating world of personal strengths. We're talking about popular research-backed frameworks, things like CliftonStrengths, the VIA Character Strength Survey, maybe some similar approaches too.
All tools designed to help you identify and really leverage those innate capabilities.
Think of this as your shortcut, not just to knowing yourself better, but to truly thriving. Whether you're prepping for a big meeting, trying to get up to speed in a new field, or maybe you're just driven by that intense curiosity about what makes people tick, what makes them perform at their best.
This deep dive is really custom tailored for you.
Absolutely. We promise clear, actionable insights, some genuinely surprising facts, and hopefully enough humor to keep you hooked without feeling totally overwhelmed.
And it's important to note this isn't just, guesswork or feel-good ideas. Our insights today are built on a really robust foundation of research.
Right. Solid ground.
Definitely. We're drawing from extensive decades-long studies by big names like the Gallup Organization, the VIA Institute on Character, and, well, tons of academic literature reviews from top psychology journals worldwide.
But this is backed by rigorous data, science.
It is, providing a solid basis for understanding your strengths.
Okay, so let's start digging into the core then. Before we even talk about identifying strengths, why do they matter so much? What's the backstory here, the historical context?
Well, what's truly fascinating here is how the field of positive psychology really pivots. It moves from just, alleviating problems to actively cultivating human flourishing.
So the old way was different.
Oh, very. Traditionally, for much of its history, psychology focused largely on what we call the deficit approach.
Deficit approach, okay.
Yeah, it meant studying mental illness, disorders, what goes wrong with people. It was about diagnosis and treatment, which of course is incredibly vital work, don't get me wrong.
It's absolutely essential. But it sounds like it's only half the picture, like a doctor who only sees disease, not health.
That's a great analogy. It was often about looking at someone and immediately trying to figure out their weak spots, how to fix them.
Right.
And, for good reason, because there was so much suffering to address. But then came this positive psychology movement. It's formally defined as the study of the conditions and processes that contribute to the flourishing or optimal functioning of people, groups, and institutions.
Flourishing. Optimal functioning, that sounds much better.
It's a complementary perspective, crucially not a replacement. It acknowledges that we humans often have this natural negativity bias. We tend to focus more on the bad stuff.
Probably notice the problems more easily.
Exactly. So positive psychology expands our view. It focuses on building and nurturing what works well, not just repairing what's broken. It's about actively cultivating well-being, enhancing happiness, optimizing performance, not just reducing the bad stuff.
That makes so much sense. It's about building on your assets, your inherent gifts.
Just like,
And speaking of things that just work, here's where we hit that aha moment for many people. Recognizing your innate abilities. It's often said strengths feel so natural, they're almost invisible to us.
that's such a critical point.
Like they feel like the right thing to do, almost like a habit you don't even think about.
Yes. Don Clifton and Marcus Buckingham, in their, foundational work, highlighted exactly that.
Yeah.
How these natural patterns of thought, feeling, behavior are so effortless that they might even be ignored or discredited.
Ignored. Why ignored?
Because they come so easily, we might not value them as much, right? We fail to see them as these powerful levers for personal development. It's like the classic fish not noticing the water it swims in.
Huh. It's just your environment, the way you move.
It's just the way you operate, effortlessly. And some researchers even suggest these patterns are actually anchored in neural networks.
Okay, so biologically based.
That's the idea. This sort of neurological grounding could help explain the profound ease, the sense of authenticity, the energy you get when you use them.
Right. When you're really in your strength zone, it doesn't feel like work.
Not at all. It feels like you're being your most authentic, most energized self. You learn faster, you perform better, you feel this deep sense of alignment.
Okay, so this isn't just, fluffy, feel-good stuff. We're talking tangible, measurable benefits, both for well-being and performance. Gallup, for instance, they have some pretty compelling data on this.
They really do. Their research shows people who regularly use their strengths are, get this, 8% more productive in their jobs.
8%. That's not trivial.
Not at all. Think about that. 8% more productive. That's like getting an extra month of high-quality work out of every team member each year just by helping them lean into what they already do well.
Wow, that adds up fast.
It really does. And it goes way beyond just raw output. Gallup also found these folks are 6 times more likely to be engaged in their jobs.
6 times. Engagement is huge.
Crucial. It means a deeper connection, higher quality work, more commitment, less turnover, and they're 3 times more likely to report having an excellent quality of life.
Okay, so it spills over outside of work, too.
Absolutely. And 6 times as likely to say they get to do what they do best every single day. It shows this direct link between using your strengths and overall life satisfaction.
That's incredible. It really paints a picture of someone genuinely thriving. And the broader research supports this too, right? Our literature review found similar things.
Oh, consistently. Across numerous studies, strengths use is linked to increased job satisfaction, greater work engagement, overall well-being. It's a very robust finding.
It's not just a one-off hypothesis.
Not at all. It's also strongly linked to finding a real sense of meaning at work, often leading people to see their work not just as a job, but as a vocation or a calling.
Like you're doing what you were meant to do.
Exactly. And when you feel that way, it fosters all these positive emotions, joy, pride, enthusiasm, which in turn boost well-being even more. It's this powerful positive feedback loop, enhances satisfaction, resilience, the whole package.
But here's where it gets really interesting for me. We're talking about more than just personal fulfillment, which is great, but this hits the bottom line too, right? For companies.
Oh, absolutely. The impact on organizational metrics is profound. Gallup's big studies show incredible results when companies actually implement strengths-based development.
Okay, give us the numbers. How does this translate?
The numbers are genuinely eye-opening. Companies doing this see, on average, 10% to 19% increased sales.
Increased sales. Wow.
And 14% to 29% increased profit.
Profit. Okay, now you've got everyone's attention.
Right. These aren't small changes. They directly impact financial health, competitive edge, and beyond that, 3% to 7% higher customer engagement, better experience, more loyalty.
Good for business all around.
And crucially, a 9% to 15% increase in engaged employees, which, as we said, is foundational. Engaged employees are simply better employees.
And the wider research, the literature reviews, they back this up too, for workplace outcomes.
Consistently. Employees who identify, use, and develop their strengths, they just perform better. They're more proactive, they show more helping behaviors, going the extra mile and fewer counterproductive ones, less absenteeism, less disengagement.
So a more collaborative, more innovative workforce overall.
Absolutely. They also find more creative solutions, adapt better to change, which is critical today.
And valuable.
And interestingly, lower levels of absenteeism, especially when things get tough, like under high workloads or emotional demands. It suggests strengths use can actually be a buffer against stress and burnout.
So it builds resilience.
It seems to contribute to a more resilient, sustainable workforce. Imagine people showing up not just present, but energized, ready to give their best, even when the pressure's on.
So it's not just about a happy workforce, though that's a huge plus. It's about a highly effective, adaptable, innovative, and more profitable one. Sounds like a true win-win.
It really does seem to be. So everyone involved.
All right, so we've clearly seen the incredible why behind embracing your strengths. The benefits are huge. But the big question for many of us is, okay, great, but how do I actually find them? How do I map this inner landscape you're talking about?
That's the next logical step, isn't it? Let's dive into the powerful tools designed to do just that.
Okay.
Now, while the core idea of strengths is wonderfully consistent across positive psychology, different, let's say, schools of thought have developed unique ways to define, classify, and measure them.
Different lenses to look through.
Exactly. It's important to understand that these approaches often influence each other. They're not totally separate silos, but they do offer slightly different perspectives, like having various maps of the same rich, complex terrain of human capability.
Okay, different maps of the same territory.
Yeah. Each framework highlights different facets, gives unique insights. It's about finding the lens that resonates most with you, or maybe even trying a few to get a more rounded view.
Let's start with probably the most well-known, the most widely used one, CliftonStrengths from the Gallup Institute. This one has a long history, right? Deep roots in organizations.
Indeed. CliftonStrengths was developed by the late Don Clifton and his colleagues. It's based on, get this, nearly 40 years of research by Gallup.
40 years. Wow.
Yeah, specifically focused on identifying what makes exceptional people exceptional. Their goal was to pinpoint the 34 most common talents that form the foundation of exceptional performance across all sorts of sectors: business, education, healthcare, you name it.
And how did they define a strength?
They defined it quite precisely.
Yeah.
A constant, near-perfect performance in an activity. Near perfect. That's a high bar.
It is. And it's not just about raw talent, is it? They break it down.
That's right. For CliftonStrengths, a strength isn't just talent alone. It's talent plus knowledge plus skills.
Okay, limit that combo.
Sure. Talent is the foundation, that naturally recurring pattern of thought, feeling, or behavior. It's your innate predisposition. Knowledge is what you know, facts, experiences, lessons learned. And skills are the practical steps you can perform efficiently.
So you start with the natural talent.
Exactly. And then you refine and amplify it by adding relevant knowledge and developing practical skills. That blend is what allows you to achieve that consistent, near-perfect performance they talk about.
So how do you find out what your core talents are? Is there like a test?
Yes, the well-known StrengthsFinder assessment, later updated to StrengthsFinder 2.0. It's an electronic questionnaire designed to identify your key talents.
I think I've taken that one. It's pretty fast-paced, right?
It is. It presents you with pairs of items, 177 of them, and you only have about 20 seconds per item to respond. That quick pace is intentional.
Why so fast?
To capture your instinctive reactions, to get past the overthinking and tap into your genuine natural inclinations. The assessment then identifies your top 5 signature themes from their list of 34 talents.
Top 5. And I remember the results feeling incredibly accurate, almost spookily so. And they really emphasize how unique your combination is.
They absolutely do. Gallup states the odds of someone sharing your exact same top 5 themes are 1 in 33 million.
1 in 33 million. That really drives home the uniqueness point.
Doesn't it? It means your specific contribution, your edge, is pretty unique. And this tool has been used by millions worldwide, helping them pinpoint that natural advantage.
And these 34 themes, they aren't just a random list, are they? They're organized into broader categories, domains.
That's right. They group the 34 themes into 4 domains of leadership strengths. This helps understand how different talents contribute to team dynamics and leadership. It's a great lens for team building.
Okay, what are the 4 domains?
They are executing, influencing, relationship building, and strategic thinking.
Executing, influencing, relationship building, strategic thinking. Got it. What do they mean?
Okay, so people strong in executing themes like achiever, arranger, discipline, they excel at making things happen, getting stuff done. They're the implementers.
The doers.
Exactly. Then, influencing themes like activator, command, communication. Those folks are good at taking charge, speaking up, motivating others. They help the team reach a wider audience.
Movers and shakers.
Kind of, yeah. Relationship building themes, relator, empathy, harmony describe people skilled at connecting, fostering bonds, creating cohesive teams. They're the glue.
Holding it all together.
And finally, strategic thinking themes. Analytical, ideation, learner characterize those who absorb, process, analyze information, making better decisions, anticipating the future. They're the planners, the problem solvers.
So a really effective team would need a mix of these, ideally, not just a room full of, say, strategists.
Precisely. A well-rounded team often has strengths across these domains, covering all the bases. For example, there was a fascinating study on school administrators' principals, assistant principals.
Oh, yeah. What did they find?
Their top 5 themes were learner, responsibility, achiever, relator, and arranger, which makes perfect sense, right, for roles needing continuous learning, accountability, getting things done, building community.
Totally. Fits the job description.
But interestingly, in that group, influencing themes were a bit limited, and command or significance were least represented. Suggests maybe a particular leadership style common in that context, perhaps more collaborative, less overtly directive.
Interesting nuance. So for you, the listener, how can understanding your Clifton strengths actually be applied practically?
Oh, it's incredibly versatile. It can help you choose a major or career path aligned with your natural wiring. It's invaluable in a job search, helping you articulate what you do best.
Right, in interviews or on your resume.
Exactly. It can significantly boost your leadership potential, helping you lead authentically from your strength. And it's key to being a strong contributor on any team, helping you pick situations where you'll shine and actually enjoy the work.
Okay, that's Clifton strengths. Let's shift gears to another foundational framework, one that digs into character itself.
Yeah.
The VIA character strengths. This comes from Christopher Peterson and Martin Seligman, right? Pillars of positive psychology.
Yes, their work is truly monumental. They develop the character strengths and virtues, a handbook and classification, or CSV. It's often called positive psychology's answer to the DSM.
The DSM being the Manual for Mental Disorders. So this is the opposite.
Yeah.
A manual for mental strengths.
That was exactly the goal, to classify positive human strengths, not deficits. They define character strengths as core psychological ingredients that define moral virtues.
Moral virtues. Okay.
They see them as distinct qualities, singular entities, and while they're relatively stable, you don't just lose them, they're also malleable. You can develop them.
Stable but changeable. Got it.
And they influence how we think, act, feel, they represent what we value. A huge part of their work was finding strengths that are truly universal.
Universal. Across cultures.
Yes. They meticulously studied philosophical, religious, psychological writings from all over the world, ancient to modern, looking for elements valued everywhere, regardless of culture or time period.
So finding the common threads of human goodness.
That's a great way to put it. Suggests a deep, shared human understanding of good character.
How are these strengths classified? What are some examples?
They identified 24 distinct character strengths grouped under 6 core virtues. The virtues are like overarching categories.
Okay, 6 virtues, 24 strengths. What are they?
The virtues are wisdom, courage, humanity, justice, temperance, and transcendence.
Okay.
Under wisdom, you have strengths like creativity, curiosity, judgment, love of learning, perspective about using knowledge. Courage includes bravery, perseverance, honesty, zest about facing challenges. Humanity covers love, kindness, social intelligence about connecting with others.
Makes sense.
Justice includes teamwork, fairness, leadership about community. Temperance has forgiveness, humility, prudence, self-regulation about moderation. And transcendence covers things like appreciation of beauty, gratitude, hope, humor, spirituality, connecting to something larger.
That's a comprehensive list. How do people find out where they stand on these? Is there an assessment for VIA too?
Yes. The main tool is the Values in Action Inventory of Strengths, the VIAIS. Originally 240 items, but now there's a common 96-item version that takes maybe 10-15 minutes.
Okay, quicker. How does it work?
Uses a 5-point scale. You rate how much statements describe you. The output ranks all 24 strengths for you, and it highlights your signature strengths.
The signature strengths. What are those?
They're the ones considered most core to who you are. Central, essential, used often, feel innate, and are really fulfilling and energizing when you use them. The ones lower down are lesser strengths, use less central, but still potentially developable.
So what has the research shown about these VIA strengths globally? Any common patterns or surprises?
Oh, some really compelling findings. In the U.S., for instance, the most common top strengths tend to be kindness, fairness, honesty, gratitude, and judgment.
Okay, and the least common?
Usually prudence, modesty, and self-regulation. But here's the really fascinating part speaking to universality. Research across 54 nations found the relative rank order of these strengths is remarkably consistent.
Wow, so different cultures still tend to rank them similarly overall.
Pretty much, yeah. Strong evidence for their universality. And within that, certain strengths, often called strengths of the heart, like hope, zest, gratitude, and love.
The more emotional ones.
Exactly. Those are most strongly associated with positive life satisfaction worldwide.
That's huge. So connection, optimism, appreciation might link more directly to happiness than what?
Then, interestingly, the knowledge strengths, things like love of learning and curiosity, were actually least correlated with life satisfaction in these global studies.
That is genuinely counterintuitive. Wow. It suggests maybe our deepest fulfillment comes less from what we know and more from how we connect and engage emotionally.
It really reframes things, doesn't it? Highlights that while learning is vital, maybe applying it through connection and positivity is key for deeper satisfaction. Of course, there are cultural nuances, too. Well, a study in Japan found religiousness ranked lower than in the U.S. could be how it's expressed, or maybe some bias in how the assessment items are worded for different cultures. Always need that sensitivity.
Good point. Okay, so we've got CliftonStrengths, VIA. Let's cover a third key approach. Realize 2, now known as Strength Profile. This comes from the Center of Applied Positive Psychology, CAPP, and Dr. Alex Lindley.
That's right. Dr. Lindley offers a really robust definition. He sees strengths as a pre-existing capacity for a particular way of behaving, thinking, or feeling that is authentic and energizing to the user and enables optimal functioning, development, and performance.
Authentic and energizing. Those seem like keywords there.
Absolutely. His approach emphasizes that. It's built on 5 core principles. 1, focus on what works. 2, strengths are universal. 3, greatest growth potential is in strengths.
Okay.
4, balance use strengths and manage weaknesses. And 5, focusing on strengths is the smallest thing you can do to make the biggest difference.
I like that last one. Smallest thing, biggest difference. Fits our deep dive theme. So how does this framework suggest we spot strengths, maybe even without a formal test? Are there everyday clues?
Yes, and this makes it very accessible. Lindley's approach highlights that you show strengths daily. The signs are things like feeling energized by an activity, not drained. Feeling truly authentic, like, this is me. Learning related things quickly, intuitively, losing track of time, getting into that flow state.
Oh yeah, flow.
Or just regularly finding success in that area. It's about paying attention to what lights you up and what you naturally excel at.
That's great practical advice, just being more mindful day to day. And they do have a formal assessment too, right?
They do. The Realize 2, now Strengths Profile, it evaluates 60 strengths across 3 dimensions.
Yep.
Energy, how much it energizes you, performance, how well you do it, and frequency of use.
Energy, performance, use.
It uses 180 statements.
Mm-hmm.
But the really clever part is the output. It classifies your attributes into 4 distinct categories, giving a really nuanced picture.
4 categories, not just strengths and weaknesses.
That's right. You get realized strengths, things you use often, do well, and love, energized by. Your go-to skills.
Okay.
Unrealized strengths, things you do well and feel energized by, but maybe don't use often. Huge untapped potential there.
Ah, hidden gems.
Exactly. Then, learned behaviors, things you do well, maybe even excellently, but they drain you. You learn them, but they aren't naturally fulfilling.
Oh, I think we all have some of those.
Yeah.
The stuff you're good at but secretly dread.
Totally. It's effective, but exhausting. And finally, weaknesses, things that both drain you and you don't do well. Areas where putting in tons of effort might not yield much.
That 4-quadrant model seems really insightful. Differentiates between being good at something and actually being energized by it.
It's very helpful for strategic development.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, we've got CliftonStrengths, VIA, Strengths Profile, different maps, different labels maybe, but they're all pointing in the same direction, aren't they?
Absolutely. While they have different classifications, assessments, slightly different philosophies, they all converge on this core idea. Identifying and cultivating what you naturally do well is fundamental, both for personal well-being and professional excellence.
They're complementary pathways to understanding yourself better and unlocking that potential.
Different yet complementary, exactly. It's about finding the approach or combination of approaches that helps you gain that self-understanding.
Okay, we've talked about recognizing strengths, mapping that inner landscape, but here's the critical pivot point, isn't it? Just identifying your strengths, while it feels great, apparently only has short-term effects if you stop there.
That's such a crucial point, and where, honestly, a lot of initial efforts can fall short.
It's like getting that detailed treasure map, but never actually setting sail.
Perfect analogy. As powerful as these assessments are for self-discovery, the real lasting impact comes from actively applying and integrating those insights into your daily life. Without moving from knowing to doing, the benefits stay potential, and that initial excitement can fade.
So what does that journey from knowing to doing actually look like? Are there proven models, steps to follow to really activate these strengths?
Absolutely. There are several good models. One really comprehensive guide is the 5-step integrative model for strengths development proposed by Milianico and colleagues back in 2020.
Okay, 5 steps. Designed for organizations, you said, but applicable individually.
Definitely. The principles work perfectly for personal development, too.
Walk us through it. Step 1.
Step 1 is preparation and commitment. This is about really understanding what the strengths approach is, how it's different from just focusing on deficits, and how it works. It's getting mentally ready, buying into it, committing to the process. Without that foundation, the rest doesn't stick.
Makes total sense. Got to be prepared and on board first. Step 2.
Step 2 is identification. This is where those assessments like CliftonStrengths or VIA come in, giving structured insights. But crucially, it also includes open methods.
Open methods, like what?
Things like careful self-observation, noticing what energizes you, what you learn quickly when you hit that flow state. And another really powerful one is collecting feedback, sometimes called the reflected best self exercise.
Reflected best self. Tell me more.
You basically ask trusted colleagues, friends, family to share stories about when they've seen you at your absolute best, most effective, most energized. Then you gather all that feedback and analyze it to paint a picture of your strengths in action, as seen by others.
Wow, that sounds incredibly insightful, getting that outside perspective. Okay, so after identification comes.
Step 3, and this is super critical and often skipped, is integration. This isn't just glancing at your results. It means taking real-time hours, maybe even weeks, to fully grasp this new information about yourself.
So really letting it sink in.
Exactly. Gaining deeper awareness, understanding the why behind your actions, and integrating these strengths into your self-view, your identity. This new conceptualization of self helps you see situations differently, shifts your mindset, and ultimately, as Clifton and Harder noted, leads to changed behaviors.
How do you facilitate that integration?
Through specific exercises, things like consciously linking your strengths to past successes, really digging into that reflected best self feedback, or maybe even writing a self-portrayal that weaves your strengths into your personal story. It's about making them yours.
Owning them, not just knowing them. Got it.
Okay.
What's step 4?
Step 4 is action. This has 2 key parts. First, planning specific changes or strategies to use your strengths more effectively in your life or work. Then, actually implementing those changes.
Planning and doing.
Right. The key is investing your strengths in specific, tangible goals, personal goals, team goals, whatever. And ideally, getting some support or monitoring from managers, peers, maybe a coach to keep you on track, turning intention into consistent practice.
And the final step in this model.
Step 5 is evaluation. Systematically checking in. What's working? What needs adjusting? How am I growing? It closes the loop, informs future efforts.
That sounds like a really solid practical framework. Are there other, maybe simpler models out there too?
Yeah, there are variations. Clifton and Harder themselves had a simpler 3-step version. Identification, integration, change behaviors, again, really emphasizing that integration step.
Okay.
And another popular one, used a lot in research, is Dr. Ryan Nemiek's Aware, Explore, Apply model.
Aware, explore, apply. Sounds straightforward.
It is. First, become aware of your strengths and others. Then explore them deeply, what they feel like, where they show up. Then actively apply them, contextually and habitually. All these models point to the same core truth. Awareness is the start, but application is where the real magic happens.
It's great to see these systematic ways to turn insight into results. What about real-world examples? Where have these interventions actually been used and what happened?
Oh, there are lots of compelling examples. Hartzer and Rooch did a significant study in 2016 using an online intervention. Participants identified their top 4 VIA strengths.
Okay.
Then they reflected on daily use and, crucially, committed to using them in new ways at work for 4 weeks. They even developed specific if-then plans.
If-then plans.
Like, if a colleague seems stressed, then I will use my kindness strength to offer support. Really concrete behavioral triggers.
Got it. And the results?
Pretty impressive. Participants showed increased feelings of their work being a calling and reported higher life satisfaction. And remarkably, these positive effects were maintained for up to 6 months later.
6 months. From a relatively short online intervention? That shows real staying power.
It really does. Suggests these changes can be quite sustainable. Other studies use more comprehensive approaches like in-person workshops or one-on-one coaching, often showing even deeper impacts.
Like what?
A study by Van Workrum and Myers in 2019 involved educators in 2 workshops over 4 weeks. They took StrengthsFinder, discussed strengths in groups, made action plans, and saw significant increases in their self-efficacy and personal growth. They felt more capable and acted on it.
Empowering them directly.
Exactly. And individualized coaching consistently shows success too, boosting engagement and performance by helping people apply their unique strengths in very specific work situations.
It sounds like leaders play a massive role in making this work in organizations. It can't just be individuals doing it on their own.
No, absolutely pivotal. Dr. Lindley talked about leaders as organizational climate engineers. They shape the culture.
Climate engineers, I like that.
He outlined 7 key things leaders should do. Know their own strengths and weaknesses, Know their team strengths and respect them. Allocate tasks based on strengths. Give positive feedback highlighting strengths.
Makes sense.
Appropriately disclose their own weaknesses to build trust, and this is crucial. Calibrate strengths correctly according to the situation and according to the golden mean principle.
The golden mean principle. That sounds important. Like finding the sweet spot.
Exactly. It's about using the right strength to the right amount in the right situation. Because, believe it or not, even a great strength can backfire if you overuse it or underuse it.
Wait, so strengths aren't always good. You can have too much of a good thing.
You absolutely can. The research clearly indicates that both over or underutilization can hurt performance. Think about it. Someone with strong command might overuse it, become authoritarian, stifle the team.
Right, or someone with empathy might get so caught up in others' feelings they can't make tough decisions.
Precisely. Or someone strong in analysis might get stuck in paralysis by analysis, never making a decision. And underutilization is also a problem, not leveraging a key talent when it's needed.
So the golden mean is about that perfect balance, applying it wisely.
It's about finding that optimal calibration, making the strength a dynamic asset used effectively and appropriately for the context, not just a blunt instrument applied rigidly.
That adds a whole layer of sophistication to just use your strengths.
Yeah.
It's about using them well.
Exactly. It's about strengths intelligence, not just strengths identification.
Okay, so what does this all mean for you and your daily life, especially at work? Let's look at what the latest, most rigorous research tells us about how these interventions actually play out. What's the real impact? So we've covered the frameworks, the steps to activate strengths. Now let's dig into the hard evidence. What do the studies really show about the impact, the nuances, the broader applications when these ideas are put into practice?
Yeah, let's get into the proof. A really insightful recent paper by Gradito, Dubord, and Forrest in 2023, looking at the efficacy of employee strengths interventions, gives us some clear takeaways, particularly about how much the depth and duration of an intervention matter.
Okay, depth and duration. They compare different approaches.
They did, through 2 longitudinal studies. Study 1 used a fairly light touch. It was a short 2-week intervention. Participants got pretty basic context, like a 15-minute intro video, simple instructions.
And the results of that quick, light approach.
Mostly non-significant. They didn't see much widespread positive change. There was maybe a marginal slight increase in job performance for some groups, but that was about it. Not exactly a ringing endorsement for the quick fix.
No. And the researchers themselves pointed to the short duration and minimal support as key limitations. Suggests a brief, low support intervention just might not be enough to really shift how people see or use their strengths long term.
Makes perfect sense. Hard to change habits or self-perception that quickly with so little guidance. Like trying to learn guitar from one YouTube video.
Exactly. But study 2, that was different. It was a longer 4-week intervention based on Dr. Niemiec's more comprehensive Aware, Explore, Apply model we mentioned earlier.
Okay, so more time, more depth.
Much more. More in-depth information, extra resources, opportunities for deeper reflection over the month, and the results dramatically more encouraging.
How so? What do they find?
They observed significant measurable increases in how much participants actually use their strengths afterwards. And that correlated with significant boosts in their overall job performance, their organizational citizenship behavior.
That's the going above and beyond stuff. Right. Helping colleagues, being a good team player, and also significant increases in their overall engagement at work.
Wow. So the takeaway seems crystal clear there.
Incredibly clear. Longer interventions, think minimum 4 weeks with more comprehensive info, resources, ongoing support like workshops or coaching. They are far, far more effective than the shorter, lighter touch ones. It's about quality and quantity working together.
Quality and duration. Got it.
And here's maybe the most critical finding from both studies, something they really drilled down on. The interventions only yielded those significant positive results. Better performance, OCB, engagement among the participants whose actual reported strengths use increased after the intervention.
So it's not just about doing the program, it's about whether the program actually led you to use your strengths more.
Precisely. It's not just about showing up, taking the test, or even just knowing your strengths. It's about actually applying what you learn and putting those strengths into practice more consistently. Mere participation isn't enough. The behavior change is paramount.
That's the linchpin. The ability or opportunity to actively apply those strengths in your daily work and life is what makes the difference.
That's the crucial implication for anyone listening. If you aren't actually putting your strengths into practice more, if your behavior doesn't shift, the potential benefits largely stay untapped. It really highlights the need for follow-through and maybe even an environment that encourages and allows that application.
Which brings us back to that classic debate, doesn't it? Strengths versus deficits. We know organizations historically focused on fixing weaknesses, and the argument goes that working on weaknesses is often more challenging and deflating. What does this latest research say? Should we just ditch focusing on weaknesses altogether?
It's such a nuanced area. The answer isn't a simple yes or no. While the strength folks argue strongly for focusing on top strengths, the evidence isn't totally one-sided.
Oh, so fixing weaknesses can work sometimes.
There is evidence that deficit improvement can yield valuable results, too, like better performance, job satisfaction, engagement, especially when you're addressing a really critical skill gap that's actively hindering you.
Okay, so it depends. What did that Gradito, Dubord, and Forrest study find on this specific point?
Well, in study one, although the results were mostly non-significant overall, they did see a pattern. The group focusing only on their bottom strength showed the least improvement. Focusing on top strengths, or a mix of top strengths and bottom weaknesses, showed slightly better, though still modest, results.
So maybe focusing only on weaknesses isn't the best bet, but ignoring them entirely isn't necessarily the answer either.
That seems to be the leaning. The overall stance from the current research is that the findings are still pretty inconclusive on whether you should only focus on strengths or only on weaknesses. What they often suggest is that a combined approach may be helpful.
A balanced approach.
Potentially. And maybe the implementation, how well the intervention is designed and supported, matters more than which specific focus, strength, weaknesses, or combo you choose. It's about doing it well, strategically, rather than rigidly adhering to one philosophy.
That feels very practical.
Yeah.
A holistic view, leverage the great stuff, strategically manage the stuff that holds you back. Okay, but let's go deeper. Why do strengths work on a theoretical level? What are the psychological engines driving these benefits?
Great question. Several foundational psychological theories help explain the why behind the what. They give us the mechanisms.
Lay them on us.
Okay, first, there's Barbara Fredrickson's broaden and build theory from 2001. The idea is that using your strengths naturally sparks positive emotions, joy, interest, pride, contentment.
Right, it feels good.
And those positive emotions do more than just feel good. They literally broaden people's modes of thinking and action. When you feel good doing something you're naturally good at, your mind opens up. You become more creative, more flexible, better at solving problems.
Okay, opens you up, then what?
That broadened perspective helps you build personal and social resources over time. Things like resilience, better relationships, new skills. It creates an upward spiral of growth. Positive emotions from strengths used make you more capable.
Cool. An upward spiral. What else?
Then there's self-determination theory from Ryan and Dussey in 2000. This theory says strengths used directly feeds our fundamental psychological needs for competency, autonomy, and relatedness.
Competence, autonomy, relatedness, the big three.
Exactly. When you use your strengths, you feel good at what you're doing, competent, you feel like you're choosing to do it, autonomous, and you often connect with others through it, related. Meeting these needs fuels intrinsic motivation.
You do it because you want to, not just for a reward.
Precisely. And that intrinsic drive leads to higher well-being and better performance.
Okay, that makes sense. What about how we see our own potential?
That brings us to Carol Dweck's growth mindset work from 2006. Developing your strengths inherently promotes the belief that your abilities aren't fixed, but malleable quantities that can be increased with effort and learning.
So it fights against that fixed mindset idea.
Directly. It fosters a healthier attitude toward learning, makes you hungrier for feedback, more resilient when you hit bumps. Focusing on growing strengths reinforces that you can improve.
Powerful shift in perspective. And how does this connect to work engagement specifically?
That's where Baker and DeMeridi's 2017 Job Demands Resources theory comes in. It positions strengths used as a key personal resource. Using strengths builds up resources like optimism, self-efficacy, mastery.
Okay.
This then helps you meet job demands and fuels work engagement. It can create a motivational gain cycle. Engaged employees use their strengths more, which builds more resources, which fuels more engagement. Another positive loop.
So these theories really connect the dots. They show strengths aren't just nice traits, they're dynamic pathways to feeling more alive, more driven, more capable of growing.
Exactly. They provide that compelling why behind what we see in the data. It's a holistic view of human flourishing.
And this leads us right back to the importance of the environment, doesn't it?
Mhm.
The organizational climate and support.
Absolutely critical. Research strongly emphasizes that organizational support for strengths use appears to have an important impact. When you have deliberate, strengths-based psychological climate in a workplace,
People feel safer using their strengths.
yes, they rely on them more. They feel encouraged to bring their best talents forward, especially when managers actively promote autonomy and give people opportunities to use those strengths.
So the manager is key again.
Hugely key. Gallup's research on this is stunning. Remember Lindley's climate engineers? Gallup found managers who engineer the employee experience around strengths see vastly better engagement.
What are those numbers again? They were pretty solid.
Staggering. A 60-to-1 ratio of engaged to actively disengaged employees when managers focused on strengths. Compare that to just 2-to-1 when managers focused on weaknesses. And a dismal 1-to-20 ratio when managers basically ignored both.
Wow. 60 to 1 versus 1 to 20. That's monumental.
It really shows the power. Focusing on strengths clearly amplifies the "I care about your" message from managers, and it directs performance toward excellence, not just minimum requirements.
So managers focusing on strengths isn't just a nice to have, it's a core driver of engagement and performance.
It seems to be. It creates an environment where people feel valued for what they naturally do best, motivating them to contribute at their highest level. It's about optimizing human potential.
And this impact isn't just in corporations, right? We touched on education earlier. Strengths are making waves in higher ed too.
They really are. Universities are increasingly using CliftonStrengths and similar tools to empower students right from the start, and the research is showing some promising results.
Like what? Better engagement.
Definitely. Research at the University of Minnesota found that strengths-based mentorships significantly predicted higher student engagement, even controlling for other factors. When students understand and apply their strengths, they get more invested. Also, their belief in their ability to use their strength self-efficacy relates positively to engagement and persistence.
And there was that study in Turkey too, with attendance.
Yes, an experimental study. Students in a 10-week course spending just 30 minutes weekly on strengths development had 9% higher class attendance the next semester compared to the control group. A direct behavioral impact.
Showing up more. That's fundamental. What about keeping students enrolled? Retention.
Huge issue for universities, and strengths seem to help there too. That same University of Minnesota research found first-year students who had a strengths-based advising discussion.
Where the advisor talked about their Clifton strengths.
Exactly. Those students were 1.53 times more likely to return for sophomore year. And, get this, 1.9 times more likely to graduate within 4 years.
Nearly twice as likely to graduate on time. That is incredibly significant.
It really is. For students and institutions. Another study at Oklahoma State University found preliminary evidence of increased first-year retention in a college that integrated CliftonStrengths into an intro course. It suggests helping students leverage strengths is a powerful factor in persistence.
So it's moving beyond just academic help to actual personal empowerment that keeps them going.
That seems to be the effect.
But it's clearly not magic, right? Just giving everyone the test isn't enough. It needs careful implementation on campus.
Precisely. It's not a one-size-fits-all fix. Its effectiveness hinges on deliberate and strategic program design. Meaning comprehensive training for faculty so they can use strengths in teaching, fostering strengths conversations among students, providing resources, creating ways for students to apply strengths practically, and crucially, cultivating a campus culture that genuinely celebrates and integrates these individual differences as assets.
Building a whole ecosystem of strength.
That's the goal. From the classroom to career services, making it part of the fabric of the student experience.
Wow, what a journey we've taken today. We've really done a deep dive into unlocking your innate potential by understanding and, crucially, using your unique strengths.
We really have. Exploring how this powerful path to growth, well-being, performance is backed by decades of solid research from places like Gallup and VIA, and supported by great frameworks like CliftonStrengths, VIA Character Strengths, and Strengths Profile.
We started by seeing how shifting from that old deficit mindset to focusing on flourishing is key. how
Mhm.
positive psychology changed the game, and realizing that using strengths isn't just nice, it tangibly boosts productivity, engagement, quality of life for individuals and organizations.
Then we mapped out that inner landscape using those different complementary lenses, CliftonStrengths' 34 talents and 4 domains, VIA's 24 character strengths and 6 virtues, Lindley's strengths profile focusing on what's authentic and energizing.
And we hit that critical point. Just knowing your strengths is only the beginning. The real power comes from activating them through models like that 5-step process, moving from insight to consistent action.
We looked at real-world successes, from online interventions boosting calling and satisfaction to workshops enhancing self-efficacy, even seeing the impact in education, better engagement, better retention. And we can't forget that important nuance about calibration.
Right, the golden mean, avoiding overuse or underuse, using strengths wisely.
Exactly, finding that dynamic sweet spot.
Okay, so for you, our listener, listening to all this, here's some actionable advice to start applying these insights right away. First off, maybe consider taking one of these assessments.
Yeah, the VIA survey is free online, a fantastic starting point. Clifton Strengths is another excellent deep dive if you're ready to invest a bit more. Just getting that initial awareness is a huge first step.
But don't stop there. Remember, the power's in the application. Try practical things. Maybe keep a strengths journal. Log moments you felt proud, energized, in flow, and connect them back to your identified strengths.
Or try that reflected best self exercise we mentioned. Actively ask trusted people, colleagues, friends, family for stories about when they've seen you shine. Analyze that feedback. It can be incredibly revealing.
And don't keep this knowledge siloed. Talk about it. Seek out or start conversations about strengths where you work, on your team, even with your family. Discuss what energizes you and point out the strengths you see and admire in others.
Absolutely. Building that kind of positive, strength-based environment benefits everyone. It fosters collective flourishing, not just individual growth. Imagine the impact if whole teams or families operated this way.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, here's something to chew on. Imagine a world where every single person, every organization, intentionally designed their lives and their work around what naturally energizes them, what allows them to truly excel. What kind of collective potential could we unlock then?
And maybe just as interesting, what unexpected challenges might that new reality present? What new problems would we need to solve, approaching them not from a place of weakness, but from an incredible foundation of collective strength?